Glad to be back here on the Dedicated Podcast. So this is exciting. This is a new thing for me. I ain't done it in a while. Probably might be a little bit rusty, but to
Well, we
have.
know you love to talk, so I
I
think it'll
love to
be.
talk. Absolutely, talking is not a problem. So I'm gonna see. Can you talk a little bit? So Ben, kind of give me a little background on, you know, what's that moment in your life, and go a little deeper than high school for me, where you had to be dedicated to something. I mean, where did it start in your life? I mean, what was that point, that moving moment that just kind of said, hey, I got to make some changes?
I would say, looking back when I was in college, I went to a school about 30 minutes from where I grew up in Ohio for 2 years. My mom worked there, and so I got to go for free, so that was cool. But I was going to school, and I didn't really, have a direction. I was an English major. I actually wanted to do news before I did sports. So I wanted to get out of where I was living. And I had got accepted to work at UPS and go to the University of Louisville. They had a program to where if you work third shift, they pay for your school. So I went there, and I was 19. I think I was 18, had just getting ready to turn 19 when we moved down there. And I had no idea how the world worked and how life was. But I knew, like, once I got there, I was not going to come home. Like, there's so many kids from where I grew up in that go away and, go to school for a semester or two, and then they come back and they're home. So I was like, if I go to Louisville, I'm going to dedicate myself and come home with a degree. Like, I'm not going home. I'm not quitting. Because there was people like that I grew up with that are like, oh, he's going to go to Louisville and blow it and stuff like that. You always have people in your ear in the background or whatever. So I went to Louisville. Me and my best friend Dustin, and we we thought it was going to be a lot easier to get an apartment than what it was. So it was not easy. So we had started our jobs at UPS, and, like, looking back, I could have eased into it a little bit, but I wanted to, like, get the job and get acclimated and stuff before school started. So we went up there in May and didn't have an apartment. And they started us like we didn't know if we were going to start. So we went to the orientation. They're like, all right, you start next week. So we're like, man, like, what are we going to do? Like, we thought that it would jeopardize us by, like, saying, no, we can't do that, when in reality we would have been good because they were really struggling for employees. But we didn't know that. So I'm like, man, like, what are we going to do? And in reality, we probably could have asked for help, but I'm stubborn and he's stubborn too, in the fact that we were just going to find a way. So we slept in his car for about a week and a half working at UPS, and eventually found a place. It was a struggle. It was a journey. But from that point, I was like, okay, like, sleeping in my car for 2 weeks, I'm not going to go back without a degree. So I think that was like a turning point for me, where, like, I felt like I became, went from a boy to a man, and, was kind of thrust into the world and into life. And, I went to school. I like I said, I wanted to go into news. I didn't think I would do sports because, I played sports in high school. Basketball up to high school, and then I ran track, cross country, soccer, sports like that. I mainly played with my friends, but because of that background, and I didn't play in college, I kind of thought people wouldn't really care what I had to say when it came to sports, and I wouldn't blame them. But my thought was kind of, if I get into this, maybe I can help others get their name out there, and get exposure and things like that, because I knew what it was like, coming from a small school in a small area, and I always kind of had that chip on my shoulder, So when I was in college, like I said, I wanted to do news. I had got an internship doing video stuff. I interned at a TV station, and then I had another internship I was going to do. It was a video production job, like marketing the college, basically. And I was ready. I was excited. I was ready to go. And my internship director said I couldn't do it because I hadn't taken any video classes. So I ended up, I knew what I was doing. Like, I was self-taught, but on paper, I couldn't prove that I knew what I was doing.
Right.
So I ended up having to take a video class with one of my favorite professors. He helped us start a weekly TV show with the student newspaper TV show. It was an online, like, 5-minute show that we did. So he was huge in, getting me to where I am today. So shout out Dr. Merkel. And we went to his class. I had to take his video editing class. And I guess he knew I was upset or something, because I came in and he's like, what's going on? I'm like, well, I don't really want to be here right now. Like I should be doing my internship, but they said I couldn't. And he's like, so do you need an internship? And I'm like, yeah, I had to get one to fulfill my degree obligations. And so he's like, well, I know Fred Cowgill at the TV station in town personally. Like, would you want to do sports? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. He's like, you like sports, right? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I had just kind of, talked about Louisville sports on our terrible show that we did, So he knew that I had an interest, but I had like no skills or knowledge basically other than video editing. So I went to the TV station and just fell in love with filming games and stuff. I got to see Lamar Jackson at Louisville.
Wow.
Donovan Mitchell, Desmond Ritter. I saw him in high school, actually. He's from Louisville. So I got to film some athletes and just fell in love with it. And I ended up doing some announcing too. And when I graduated, I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I wanted to quit UPS. I had an internship in Ohio. It was with a baseball team, actually. It's like a summer college league team or whatever. And they had started a stream. And they were all in. They were going to hire me. I had done like softball games for Louisville at that point, and some other sports. And I had it was like a weird situation. I was going to have to like live with someone. They had like live-in homes, and I would make like $500 a month or whatever. But I was like, oh, I'm 20 years old, like 22 years old. Like this would be awesome. I get to announce baseball games, get paid. But they ended up ghosting me. Like,
wow.
Into the process. So shout out to the Galleon Graders. Hope you're having a great season. But yeah, so I got a job at the radio station my mom worked at, announcing games, and a job at the newspaper in town, and I just kind of took off from there. I was in my hometown for about 4 years, and there was another moment. I mentioned one moment that was the driving force for me, but another moment was my mom passing away in 2020. And at that point, I had wanted to get out of the area anyways, but that kind of, ultimately got me out of there. And, I moved to Dallas with a girl I was talking to. We weren't even together then. I mean, it was a major just leap of faith, like get me out. I want to do something new. So like the apartment I had, I didn't even like go and see it beforehand. We just,
Wow.
we just flipped a coin, and it worked out. I didn't have a job when I went there, like I said. I was posting in Facebook groups in Dallas, and I was like, hey, if anyone needs a videographer. And someone had commented and, got us in touch with a 7-on-7 company. And I went to a couple tournaments. That's where I met you at. And, things have honestly taken off from there. We're DR Sportz now, but I've been a believer in the vision and talking with you since day one. So I'm just excited to see the growth and where things continue. I know that was a long-winded answer to your question there, but it all ties together. It was just to show that
I'm gonna kind of take you back. So would you say that? Tell me a little bit about the sleeping in the car time. I mean, I know, especially in Kentucky. I hope it wasn't winter and cold Louisville at the time. What was that moment like? I mean, if you just going back looking at it, I know you're probably thinking you was insane doing it, but kind of go give me a little bit of that moment, because that's something I've never done in my life.
Well, I mean, it was just to think back. I said I had it in my head. I didn't want to go home. Like I wanted to go back with that degree, and it would have been so easy because like I hadn't even like gone to class yet at that point. So like looking back, it's really crazy because it would have been easy just to say, you know what, we're not going to do this, or maybe we could find a different opportunity and go another time. Maybe the timing's not right, but I don't know, something in us, I guess. Maybe we just liked the orientation. There was a cute girl in my class or something. I don't know. I don't know what it was that ultimately kept me there. But I do remember. So it was in May, so it was hot. It was really hot there.
That's better. That's
good. Yeah. And so we slept in the UPS parking lot. So there's airplanes going over our head all throughout the night. So it's hard to sleep already. Like, it was tough, man. I remember like a week into it, like we like showered. We had like bottles of water, and we, just kind of do what we could do. Because like we didn't have a gym membership or anything. Like we couldn't go to Planet Fitness or anything like that. So we just kind of did what we could. And I'd say like 5 days into it, we were looking at apartments, and we went to one. And my friend went into the bathroom, and he turned the handle on the shower, and it came on, and we both kind of looked at each other, and we were like, let's do it.
You got a shower now. Let's go.
We went to the store and got some towels and stuff, and we come back, and so I showered first. He's in the shower. I'm waiting on him, and my heart drops, man. I hear the doorknob turn to the apartment, and I'm like, oh, who is this? Like, what's going on? So I go to the door, and it's the landlord with the two people that just signed their lease for their new apartment while our roommate's in the shower. So yeah, that was interesting. We went and told the place that had set us up with that the story. They thought it was hilarious. The landlord didn't. So I don't know if he used that rental company anymore, but we ended up, man, like I don't have good luck. If luck's a thing, I don't think I have very good luck. But I went and bought a lottery ticket, $20 lottery ticket. I won $100, and we used that to buy an apartment hunting guide, which is kind of crazy to think. Like, this was before Zillow and all those rent.com and all that. So we found an apartment through there, and I think we kind of told the lady our story, and I think she felt bad for us. So she hooked us up and helped us out, and we had an apartment, and we weren't sleeping in the car anymore. But it was definitely a humbling, like, 2 weeks. I mean, it's not like I spent a year, so it wasn't anything crazy.
Right.
I think it kind of just pushed us a little bit, but I don't know. It might have ignited something in me that I haven't been able to shut off since. I don't know.
Yeah, I think those are the moments that where you, unbeknowing, hit some form of, you're dedicated to what you're trying to achieve. And I think we all have those landmark moments. And for me, I just listen to your story. That's a landmark moment to the next phase. So when you go to college, so my next question is, as I hear your story, because I don't know all this story, so this is all new to me. So as we dig in, so now you're trying to intern, right? You got this intern, you're excited about it, you know your video work. And then the first time somebody tell you ain't good enough to do it, because that's basically what he said was, hey, you could tell me all that, but you don't have it on paper.
Right.
You could have easily quit then. What kept you from not quitting at that point?
I mean, like, looking back, I think, I said Dr. Merkel really helped out. I think, he really guided me down that path, because I think at that time, I don't think I was even announcing games or anything yet. That kind of came down the road too. We were just doing that weekly show that I said that was really bad. Like, I almost want to insert a clip from it just so you guys can laugh at it.
And that Lamar Jackson, where do we begin with that stud?
Oh man, he's something else. He really is. It's like playing a video game with this guy. He scores.
He's the cheat
touchdowns.
code, though.
Yeah,
he's
really
the cheat code of that.
It's not fair to play with Lamar Jackson. It's like playing with the Warriors. Right. K-17. So he scores 3 touchdowns in 5 minutes against Syracuse.
But we've come a long way. I'll say that. But I think he, guided me and getting me that internship. I think that really sparked an interest in me because, like I said, I wanted to do news and even up
you
to
wouldn't even be here.
Yeah. Like I kind of saw, how news worked, and I didn't want to be the one to put a camera in a grieving person's face and ask questions and do all that. Like, no disrespect to people that do that. You guys are amazing, but I could not do news. My mom worked in news. My dad worked in radio too, but he was just a DJ. So I think they they put it into my blood and into my brain when I was young or something. Because I always said I'd never work at a radio station, and that was my first job out of college. But yeah, I think Dr. Merkel, I think he kind of inspired me, because I was distraught at that point, and but like I said, I wanted to, like, I've always loved sports. I've been around sports my whole life. I've watched sports my whole life. I've analyzed sports my whole life. I don't know if I've told you this or really anyone. So everyone knows Bleacher Report. I wrote for Bleacher Report when I was in 8th grade. They were like a really young company then, so they would take like anyone if you could write effectively. So basically, I had a college football like beat, and they would send me article topics and be like, "Hey, we need 400 words on the Georgia Bulldogs secondary before they play Florida." And I'm like, okay. So I didn't get paid anything. I was in 8th grade. So it was just cool to, if you search Ben Spicer Bleacher Report, they might still come up. But yeah, that was pretty cool. So like I said, like, I had a sports influence and background in radio and communications and TV and all that. I just never really, I guess it just kind of hit me over the head in that moment that, hey, maybe you should do this. Because, there's a lot of dudes that, talk about sports that weren't elite athletes. Skip
Right.
Bayless. Hate to bring him into the conversation, but
Yeah.
he's just like me. So which is scary to say. But
Yeah. I don't know
yeah,
if you want to compare
I
yourself
mean,
to Skip
so, but I'm not. I don't do what he does. You know what I mean? I'm there to uplift and showcase athletes, and that's what I've been able to do with this platform. So I appreciate you for that. And I like 7-on-7 is crazy to me. I never would have even fathomed that. It's finally starting to grow a little bit where I'm from, but that was just like something fun we did in the summer before the season started. You know what I mean? My high school ran the option, so they weren't throwing the ball. So 7-on-7 wasn't really a big thing. And then I go to Texas, and I'm like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing when you sit there and tell me Bleacher Report, and now you see how big and how national platform they are.
Yeah,
now.
I want my royalties, Bleacher Report.
Right. But those are things, those little season nuggets that help you become the man you are today, and it's interesting, So I know it was a challenging time that when I think we knew each other right about when you went through the journey with your mom, and rest in peace, your mom. And I know she was a major influence. But that pushed you to leave the state. I know that's a big thing. I never left the state of Texas and moved, so I know that's a big thing to leave what you've been knowing all your life. Yeah, but you were still in Kentucky. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It wasn't
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
So in that journey to Dallas, and I know it was nervous. I know you kind of blew through that time, but that was some challenging times in there where you had to figure it out. I remember when I met you, and we'll go back to when we first met. We won't go into all the different things, but because it ain't important. But I remember you working at a store, and you were selling some stuff at a clothing store, and I remember you talking about that and the odd jobs you did just to keep your passion going.
Yeah, man.
You have to really love what you do and be dedicated to go through those journeys, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how many people know how much people in the sports media field make, but it ain't a lot. We talked about Skip Bayless and those guys. I mean, those are like the upper tier, one of one type personalities. There's just not a lot of. It's not a huge field, especially today with social media and all the platforms and such that are out there. I mean, it's pretty easy to build a following, a sports media following. So, I mean, you really don't even need to go to college for that today. So I think, I got the chance to tell people stories. The first year I ever started, I started at a small newspaper in Portsmouth, Ohio, in addition to the radio station that I was working at. And I had my little $200 Walmart camera that I bought in college. And that's what I filmed Lamar Jackson and Donovan Mitchell and Desmond Ritter on, my little $200 Walmart camera. Looked great though. I mean, it came out great. Learned a lot from that. But I go there and, I went around and I wrote newspaper articles. I had my little video camera, and, some of those kids, like, that was 2017. So some of those kids are married now. Some of those kids have kids. So it's been cool to see their journey. But just getting the chance to, tell their stories. And we had a team that won the state championship in Ohio high school football in Division 5. That was pretty cool to get to be a part of that. But I just fell in love with it, man. And unfortunately, I think it was five months into the newspaper job, I had to step down. There was a conflict with the publisher and the radio station, apparently, although they said I could do both. It became a problem, I guess, a couple months into it. So I either had to step down or be fired, basically. And so from there, I went to a job in Ashland that I was the sports director. We kind of just had like an online TV station. We did a lot of sports stuff, live streams. So that's where I learned production and had my own show that I did every week. And so I got the chance to, be more comfortable on camera and stuff like that. And in addition to that, I had started writing for the newspaper in Ashland, Kentucky, and also was announcing games for a radio station. So I was doing all those things, and I still made under $30,000. Can you believe that?
Hey, man.
Crazy, but I was 23, 24, so I made it work. staying with mom and stuff. But throughout this time, I look back to as early as when I was a kid, and I mentioned the Bleacher Report days. I remember I had like talked about having a college football talk show. Like that'll be fun. Little 12-year-old me giving my college
Wow,
football
that's
opinions.
wow.
And so my mom went out and got me a video camera, and I ended up I recorded a couple episodes, I think, and I couldn't figure out how to. It was like on a cassette tape, so I couldn't figure out how to get it onto the computer and stuff.
I remember that.
That makes me sound old, but yeah, so the whole way, throughout the process, she was always there,
Yeah.
listening to all my grumblings when I went to the school that she worked at because they didn't have anything that I wanted to do, and kind of encouraging me to put myself out there and go to Louisville. And when I went there, if I sent her a video, she would always watch it. And she worked 2 jobs from when I was probably 6 or 7 up until she passed away. So she would go to the radio station. She did the news. She would go, I think she went in at like 4 a.m. She would
Wow.
work 4 to noon at the radio station thereabouts. And then she would go to the university and work as well. So, I mean, she was up every day, and she loved what she did, and still always found time to listen to me. And it was great because, she was my biggest supporter, but she was also my biggest critic. So if
Right.
I'm announcing a game, she wouldn't hesitate to text me and be like, "Hey, you sound tired. Wake up," and there were some games where she was actually my board op at the radio station. She ran my commercials and stuff. And,
Yeah. That's
during the timeouts, she's giving me words of encouragement, or, "Hey, do this," or you'd sound better if you did this, so I really miss that a lot because she was always watching. I'm sure she would have been watching all our live streams and giving me plenty of feedback for me and Jeremy on what was going on.
yeah.
She
Yeah.
was on top of that, so definitely miss that. But yeah, she encouraged me, and I think I knew that if I came to Dallas, all I needed was someone to take a chance on me. Like I was
Right.
confident that I could do what I needed to do if I just needed a chance to do it. And so I got the chance to work with you guys first, and to work with you. Like I said, at a different place, but it's all irrelevant. It all worked
Yeah.
out in the end, and I think that was just the biggest thing was, hey, I'm going to get it by any means because this is something I'm passionate about, and something that ultimately makes me happy. So I'll find a way to do it. However, it's got to be done. And I've had a lot of odd jobs along the way to supplement.
Absolutely. We've
Yeah.
all done some things and had some different things. When you think of your parents, they embed some things in you that you don't even know till you look back, and those fighting mentalities, those little encouraging, and so when you're on your journey, you're out on the island. We always, I've been on the island, I feel like by myself, and all you can hear is those encouraging words, and you remember the things that they've done, and they fight. I mean, that keeps us moving. So when first time I met you, Ben, you was in a sports coat holding a sideline camera that should have been on NFL Network. And I was like, now, who is this guy? Ben Spicer, who is this? And so I remember I said, hey, I've heard you. I know you came through someone else, but I want to get to know who you are. Let's talk. And after Lanice and I spent some time with you, we both was totally committed and say, hey, we like that guy. We really love who he is, his character. It's always been one of my thing is, we really believe in family. We really believe in integrity and trusting and having each other back. And that's something that I felt like that you displayed that as a person. And so it's always exciting to see that. And when all that happened and things changed, I wasn't for sure who was going to follow. I thought I knew, but one thing you told me, you said, hey, I'm down. Just let me know when you're ready.
Yep.
And we ain't look back. I mean, and that means that I want to tell you thank you, because that means the world to me. And I know we didn't get on here to be all mushy, but that means the world to me, because what that showed was that you was dedicated to what we was doing. Anytime I asked you to do something, you was there to do it. And Lanice, I can't say any ill word of being, I might get jumped on in my household. So, so just know that. But that was that first moment, and to see where we are and what we're doing, and now I've been pushing you. It's like, hey, I need to see that pin from Ben.
Yeah.
So to see you, I was reading the Hill article the other day, and I thought that was very, very well professional written. I mean, I got a lot of guys that I sent to the site to just get their feedback, and everybody's loving the new platform and all the different things. And we're just getting started. But what was the thing that really made you lock in to what we was putting together here?
That's a good question. I think it was new to me, and it was fun. And then getting the chance to have fun, but to also help people. I think that was a big thing, and help athletes get their name out there, help coaches promote their programs, and people tell their stories. And I saw an opportunity to do that. And also, like, this is kind of crazy to think. The first time I ever caught a flight was to Atlanta
Oh, wow.
for a tournament. So that was pretty cool. I had this is small town Ben talking to you here. I didn't realize there were two airports in Dallas. I knew there was Love Field because it was
Right.
10 minutes away from me, but I didn't know that. Well, so that doesn't make sense. That's a bad lie because we were going to DFW Airport.
Right.
And I looked up the flight, and it wasn't showing on my phone like where to go, what gate to go to, A, B, C, whatever. So I called, and we're 10 minutes from DFW, and they say, "Sir, that flight takes out of Love Field." So I'm like, "Oh no!" So we had to rush back and get to Love Field, but I think it's just the opportunities that are out there. We get some amazing athletes on our circuit, so to get to watch them grow and follow their dreams, and play a small part in that, and helping them get film or get their name out there or whatever it may be. That's always been something I've enjoyed, and getting the chance to have these programs from smaller areas come and put their names out there too. I think that's been pretty cool. I've gotten to meet some great people,
Mm-hmm.
and that's very important to me too. Relationships. I'm like you, so I've got the chance to meet people that have helped me, and I would like to think I've been able to help them as well. So just the opportunity, I saw the opportunity to help others, and to grow myself. So I think that I've been able to do that, and to help DR Sportz grow along the way. So
Yeah.
it's all worked out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. First thing people ask me is, Ben Spicer still with you? We said, I was like, yeah, Ben's still with us. So that's definitely become a prominent name. So, as we kind of start to, wrap this thing up, I have my vision. What I see, I think, we all know those things, and I can talk kind of where you see the company going and where your direction. Where do you think from what we're doing over the next few years?
Well, I think it's going to be fun in the fact that we have access to kids from all over the country, that people might not be privy to or know about yet, and we get to see them grow over the years from 8U all the way to 18U. A lot of those organizations that have 18U teams also have 8U, so we get to
Right.
see the young and the old, the start to finish. I think that's going to be the coolest thing to me, is because I've always tried to show love to the younger age groups since I
Yeah.
started, and
Yeah.
film the 10U, film the 12U,
Yeah.
everything of that sort. So we're getting to the point now where some of those kids are like 14, 15, and they're going into high
Right.
school, and they're playing as freshmen, and they're playing on varsity. And so that's been so cool for me to get
Yeah.
to see, because I'm like, hey, I remember him, when he was 12, head topping people at our DR7 tournament.
Right.
So that's cool. And I think that's going to be awesome to look back on once these first wave of kids gets the chance to play on Saturdays, because I know I'm going to be tuned in. I'm going to have to make a spreadsheet or something of
Right.
all our kids that have gone on to college. I think that's going to be
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
That's the coolest part to me. But I think, just the future, I think the growth is inevitable. I'm excited for this podcast, and welcoming on coaches to tell their stories over the next couple of weeks, and just getting the chance to continue to grow and be a part of something special.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about where you see the platform. The platform is not just focused on the 7-on-7. Um, we're looking at to be a year round, go through the fall, go through the summer, the fall, kind of how you see that. I mean, you've been into some integrated meetings of what we're doing here. Kind of give me your viewpoint from Ben's eyes, from Ben's view.
I'm excited for the chance to talk about Friday night football, man. That's going to be fun. That's something that we've wanted to work in here in this big picture of things over the last couple of years, and now it's finally coming to fruition. Myself and Mark Henry, Drew Johnson, Nick Gradney, and everyone with the platform. We're looking forward to Friday night football. You guys got Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night football down there in Texas, man. Y'all are a little crazy, but I moved to Tallahassee in January, so I'll get the chance to experience Florida high school football. I'll let you know if it's better than Texas ball. I don't know, guys. At this point, I'm not sure where my loyalties lie, but I haven't seen a Friday night game yet in Florida. But the stadium's got y'all beat. I'm sorry. But I think that's going to be big, getting the chance to do high school football coverage. I know we've had several high school coaches, high school football teams following us on social media, so that's cool. And a lot of these kids, like I said, have come up through the DR7 ranks, so it's cool to see like the improvements that they make, but also to see them in pads and with a little pressure coming at them. It's a little different than 7-on-7. So I'm excited for that. And to get to tell stories of kids from across Florida. And I think I'm going to be heading up to Georgia for some games too. So I'm excited for that. So
Georgia football.
Yeah. We're expanding, and, Mark's going to be busy down in Texas, Nick as well. And then Drew, of course, is covering that Central Florida area on down. So I think it's just going to continue to grow as we add, new contributors, new writers to the staff. And I'm excited to be able to contribute more. I'm going to start writing up some articles here soon. I've got a couple, and I think that's going to be mainly my focus. I'll have some high school coverage as well, but probably talk to some of the youth athletes that we've seen across DR7, see how they've kind of grown, in youth and middle school season as well. And just excited to continue to be a part of the journey. I think it's going to be big. And I've also wrote a flag football article that you could check out.
Yep.
I'll put it up there on the screen, theplatformdr.com. So I got the chance to talk to Austin Hill, and we also did a flag football article, which we might be doing some more of those here soon with DR7 Girls Cup.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're super excited about that. I mean, excited about the platform. As I shared at the platform, guys, I need to go check it out at Platform DR. We're the next up and coming platform that brings exposure to youth and high school athletes. We're going to stay in that lane. So we coming. That's one thing I think we're dedicated, we're coming, and we're about exposing the unexposed. So hey, Ben, I really appreciate you allowing me to kind of flip the lens and get to know who Ben Spicer. I know everybody see you working hard at all the tournaments, and we thank you for that. And then see you on social media. I know your inbox kind of go crazy with these high school athletes, and some of these coaches want you to come do things for them. We're honored to have you to be a part of our family. So I want to tell you thank you. But we're excited about the dedicated platform powered by DR Sportz. And as we move forward, we're going to start to continue to get these other crown winners on and get to tell their story and go behind the scene with them a little bit. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I know I'm looking forward to tag teaming this with you. I could say firmly now that you're hired, I'll take you as my co-host for the podcast. I'm excited for it. But yeah, that's all I got for you. I don't know if you have anything before we close out, but I'm excited. Make sure you stay tuned. As you said, crown winners coming up here from DR7 this past year, and a lot more. I know you've got some special things planned for the podcast, so we'll be seeing a lot of each other here over the coming months.
Yeah, so they can follow us all on social at DR Sportz with the Z on all the platforms. And then also the platform DR on Twitter and IG, and the DR Sportz _DR _sports on our Twitter page, X page, whichever one you want to call it. So, hey, man, I appreciate it. Thank you. Excited about everything.
All right, for Johnathan Mumphrey, I'm Ben Spicer. Thanks for tuning in to episode number 1 of the dedicated podcast powered by DR Sportz.